Today, JTV is brought to you by the leaders in preserved flowers and foliages, Verdissimo. With 100% fresh-cut botanicals that are ecologically preserved, Verdissimo ensures your arrangements will last for years to come. For more information about Verdissimo, go to their website at verdissimo.com. This week on JTV, we're creating this beautiful arrangement out of preserved flowers from Verdissimo. So let's get started with today's project. I'm really excited to dig into the beautiful Verdissimo product. I've been a fan for years, and it's important to note that Verdissimo is different. It's not a dried product, it's not a freeze-dried product or a silk product. It's 100% natural product that's been fresh cut and preserved in a special ecological preservation system that either calls for immersion or systemically using glycerin so that the product, like this beautiful hydrangea, is still soft and supple and feels just like fresh. Look at these roses. They're amazing. They feel like a beautiful fresh cut rose. They're soft, they're pliable, and they're going to last for years. So it's a great preservation, and it's something that Verdissimo does better than anyone else. For today's project, we're using an antique pot container from Accent Decor. I've put a styrofoam sphere underneath here and covered it with some of the beautiful Verdissimo moss. Again, botanical moss that's been preserved. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And it's just going to fill in and be our base for the arrangement that we're going to make. We're using all sorts of different materials today too, and we're going to start by using the materials in bundles themselves. So in their lavender bunches, there's 2 bundles that come together, and we can go ahead and leave the rubber band on this. I'm just going to tighten it up so that it's nice and tight and it supports the lavender. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is spread it slightly. By spreading this, I'm spreading the material on this side and I'm fanning this out. The great part about the technique that we're going to use is we're going to put it in a bundle just like this. We'll use a Coe pick, double-ended green Coe pick. I love those, my favorite product from Coe. We'll dip that in our hot glue and push it directly through our bundle and in through the moss into the styrofoam. So you can see the glue's puddling up around the Coe wood pick. It's going to hold that there, and it's also going to hold this bundle in place. It's a fast, easy way to get an authentic French Provence type style by using the bundles together. We'll cover this up with topping of other products as we create this, but you're going to see how fast it is to create this very botanical bundled look. Again, taking our bunch of lavender, and I just take the rubber band that comes right with them, move it down a little bit, and tighten it. I'm going to go about 3 times around. And then we're going to fan this out. Then I can place it here, double-ended wood pick into our hot glue, and then directly through that bunch. Now again, I'm leaving that wood pick extending up to the top because I can layer other bunches on top. And you'll see how we do that, but it's great to leave that up. So you don't want to cut it off right now. It'll help us later to keep the entire arrangement together. We've got 2 more bundles of lavender. We'll send this one off this direction. There we go. Now, I don't want to add all the bundles at the same time, too, because I want to get a layered effect. So we'll start with something else. We're going to use the pepperberry. Now, with the pepperberry, because the end of this is going to cascade down the side like that, and we might see this. So I can also use something like my bind wire. This is paper-covered wire that comes from Oasis. It's very naturalistic because it has the craft paper outside. And we'll just tie that together tightly so that it holds our bundle of pepperberry together. I love the texture on this product and all those berries that look so great. Now notice, this is going to sit over the top of this wood pick, and that's going to help hold it into place right there. And we'll add another one with our hot glue directly through the bunch. Now, look at how great that is, because our Koei wood pick is the same color as the foliage, so it completely disappears. With this being a natural botanical product, we want to conceal our mechanics as much as we possibly can. Now, look at this. I love hanging amaranthus. We're used to being able to see it in chartreuse green, dark greens, red. Those are the natural colors that comes in. But here, they've applied that wonderful lavender color. And for this, because, again, this is a fresh product with movement, it's soft, it's supple, we're going to allow that to come across and hang down onto the table. Because later on, we might set this on a shelf or the edge of a table, and we might want to have that cascade down. So I don't want to have it hanging up above the table surface. I want to give it a really pendulous effect. This is already bound with a rubber band. Hot glue and wood pick directly through the center and into my styrofoam ball. Now, you don't always have to use an entire bunch of something. This is a beautiful ivy that has berries on it. Comes in one bunch. I'm going to divide it up into two and use my bind wire to tie it into a great bundle. The bind wire also comes in a green color too, so that you could use that if you wanted to conceal it a little bit more. I'm going to leave those tendrils nice and long and place that over the top. You'll notice I have two sizes of wood picks. I have the 6-inch and I have the 4-inch. Because when this gets taller, I might want to use the longer one. So I always have two sizes in reserve. Twisting this one off, and I left kind of another little loop in there. That makes me think that this was maybe harvested and gathered and hung for a little while to dry. It gives me that wonderful French look or Italian look of having all these beautiful bundles of foliages and flowers together. It's a little bit of that extra detail that we just take the time to create. Now, we're going to slip this over the top of that wood pick that's already on our lavender and stick it directly into our foam. Now you'll notice there's a lot of glue there. That's really good because as the glue dries, the heat-activated adhesive and the glue itself helps bond everything together. We're kind of forming an armature and a concreteness to this so that it's all going to hold together really well. We use a bunch of their bear grass. It's beautiful. Look at that. This is red. They have natural greens. They have other colors as well. And I'm going to use that whole bundle right here. Now, because the end of the bear grass is going to show, I'm going to use the bind wire and remove the rubber band. You know how fragile sometimes dried product can be or freeze-dried material? You don't have that issue when we're working with Verdissimo. It's soft and it's supple and it's very easy for us to work with. We also want to remember that we're going to use Verdissimo inside. We don't want to use it outside and have it exposed to the elements themselves. Now, because our bear grass is straight, I'm going to use 2 wood picks on this one, just to be sure. Put another one over here. Notice how they're going in at opposing angles, so it's going to hold that in place really well. This is off the other side where my amaranthus is on the other side. So they're counterbalancing one another. And that green over the top. Now, notice I'm going to lay that there so that I still see that red up there, but look at that great contrast between the green and the red itself. It's that wonderful complementary colors that causes great contrast and causes excitement. We'll remove our rubber band and bind off this bunch. Placing that there. My hot glue, I always have about the consistency of taffy. You'll notice that that's all. That glue is in there. But it's going to hold it together. And our last bunch of lavender. This one I'm going to bind using the bind wire because I will see the rubber band. So use a little longer wood pick this time because I'm going through all these bunches. I've got one more spot on this side where I can see a little bit of that moss. You know, I'm going to change my mind. I thought I would lay some of these beautiful palm fronds over the top, but I love seeing that Verdissimo moss through there. It's a great contrast. It adds interest. It's a little imperfection, not so gathered up. So I'm going to leave that exposed. I think that's going to be better if we just are able to see that. I'm going to use this hydrangea bunch, and I think I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to take the ends and cut them nice and short. So they're short like this. Then I'll take my rubber band and bind that off nice and tight. Then dip that in my glue so I have a nice big wad of that glue on there, and we'll stick it right down into that middle. Now, imagine any time you would touch a dried hydrangea, it would just crumble and fall apart. But look at how beautiful that is. It's soft, it's supple. Hydrangea and roses are 2 of the things that Verdissimo does better than anyone else. And so having those beautiful hydrangeas in this are just wonderful. Think about, too, if you've got a wedding coming up and you need hydrangea, they make the hydrangea in natural colors, too. They also make them in white so that you can color enhance them with just for flowers. There's all sorts of things that you can do with them. And many times, you might have had a really hot summer wedding where they want hydrangea. Verdissimo would come to the rescue. Our red bunch we'll put right there. My next step is to add some ribbon. Got some great ribbons here from Reliant. Oh, that's going to be perfect. Look at that cross weave that's actually happening in there that picks up those other colors. There's a little bit of the lavender in that gray. There's a little bit of gold almost. It's perfect. And we'll use our chopstick and push that down inside, using the back end so I won't poke through the ribbon itself. And this one we'll want to curl off the side. I think I'll cut these off flush. And where the end is on this ribbon, I'll just fold that over. It's a nice way to finish the end on a beautiful fabric ribbon. Now, for the topping. I told you about topping before, and this is where it comes in. We'll use some of the beautiful Verdissimo rose heads. Now, let me tell you a little bit about them. They create the world's finest full-length stemmed rose. It's a long-stemmed rose complete with foliages. The stem is intact. It's an entire blossom that's been preserved on its own stem. Absolutely gorgeous. One of the natural things that they do, and one of the suggestions that they have, is creating a botanical bouquet like this, where we've got a fern frond wrapped around a dozen of those roses. Imagine how beautiful and fun this would be. Very European. One of the hottest things in Japan and Europe right now are the long-stem Verdissimo roses. They come in a wide variety of colors, too. Here's one of my favorites, the chocolate brown. It's absolutely incredible. But standard colors, too, like the red and this beautiful orange. They come packaged in 6s, and it's great packaging as well. We'll use these beautiful red roses to just set off the center of this bouquet. Using plenty of the hot pan glue, I'm covering up my other mechanics too. As I go in, I might see one of my Koei wood picks or a little blob of glue, and I'm covering that up with those beautiful roses. Let's see, I need one more. Oh, right there. That's going to be a perfect spot. Right there. Now that is wonderful. Look at how that beautiful amaranthus hangs down. Imagine this on a pedestal or on the edge of a counter with all those beautiful florals draping down. Preserved botanicals from Verdissimo. It's a beautiful way for us to use flowers in a permanent fashion where we're enjoying what the botanical flower truly is, but having it around for a long period of time. Until next week, keep having fun with flowers.